The complexity of scientific evaluation of psychology. Psychology is a complex discipline that seeks to understand human behavior with a scientific approach. However, the evaluation of psychology with rigor is a difficult problem. The results obtained can vary according to the methods used, which makes the interpretation of results very delicate. Some psychological tests have shown that collective intelligence is related to sensitivity and that women often have a slight advantage over men in this area. This highlights the importance of taking individual differences into account in psychological assessment. Despite the complexity of the subject, rigorous psychological assessment is essential to improving our understanding of human behavior and thus providing effective solutions to everyday problems. For this reason, scientists continue to work hard to find reliable and accurate methods to rigorously assess psychology.
The balance between the feminine and masculine energy for a harmonious action. I highlight the differences between feminine and masculine energy. The feminine energy is associated with the emotional sphere of our desires. It pushes us to reflect on our motivations and to question our ambition. On the other hand, masculine energy is associated with power and externalization. The desire to impose oneself through powerful action is often linked to this energy. The lack of balance between these two energies can make life difficult. Relying too much on one of these energies can lead to failure. To succeed, we must find a balance. Balance can be achieved by being aware of our energies. If we are aware of what drives us, we can avoid over-reliance on either one. By taking the time to reflect on our motivations, we can find the energy to take action while avoiding brute force. Thus, to be effective in our action, we must find the balance between feminine and masculine energy. Once found, we can rely on these two energies to achieve our goals and dreams by creating harmony in our lives.
The benefits of being single on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is often thought of as a holiday for couples, but it can also be enjoyed by singles. Indeed, being single can offer many benefits. First of all, it can be a good way to refocus on yourself and your own needs and desires. This allows you to take the time to think about what you really want in a relationship and to prepare yourself for the right person. Paradoxically, being single on Valentine's Day can also help us better understand love and the importance of giving our best in our everyday relationships. We can learn to take care of ourselves and respect ourselves, so that we can be better prepared for a future relationship. Finally, being alone on Valentine's Day can provide a unique opportunity to indulge and pamper yourself. For example, you can take a bubble bath, cook yourself a nice meal or watch a movie you like, without having to think about someone else's preferences. In conclusion, being single on Valentine's Day can be a rewarding experience full of possibilities. It's important to take time to recharge, reflect on yourself and treat yourself, so that you're ready to welcome love when it comes.
The benefits of friendship-based relationships. It is well known that romantic relationships can be complex, even tumultuous, but a study shows that couples who start their relationship as friends are more likely to last. Indeed, these friendship-based relationships have a different dynamic because the people involved already have a mutual knowledge of their partner's personality and tastes. This prior friendship allows for lasting closeness, trust and open communication, which is essential for a healthy romantic relationship. By cultivating this complicity, couples can achieve an emotional intimacy that is more serene than the commitment necessary for the quality of the relationship. Both partners can act with confidence, without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. Discussions are easier and more honest, reducing the risk of conflict. Another advantage of friendship-based relationships is the shared circle of friends. When couples share the same group of friends, it creates an atmosphere of stability and security for both partners. Small conflicts that may arise between the two partners are easier to overcome when mutual friends step in to try to resolve the situation. In sum, friendship-based relationships have significant benefits. Couples who begin their relationship as friends can better understand and appreciate their partner for who he or she really is. By maintaining honest communication and sharing enjoyable times together, these couples form stronger and more lasting relationships than those based on physical attraction or strict commitment.
The benefits of love according to the dogmas. I present the idea that although dogmas are often criticized, they offer keys to understanding love. The dogmas of blessing and mercy are mentioned as indicators of love. The next paragraph develops this idea by explaining that love can work miracles, such as changing a difficult situation or overcoming personal limitations. Love would thus be a vector of transformation, allowing one to overcome obstacles. In short, I put forward the benefits of love, seen through the prism of dogma. Love is presented as a powerful force, capable of transcending limits and making positive changes in our lives. The benefits of music on our well-being. Music is a universal art that transcends cultures and language barriers. It is capable of touching us at the deepest level of our being, of transporting us to a more peaceful and serene state of mind. Indeed, music has many benefits on our well-being. In particular, string instruments, such as the violin, the guitar or the cello, have a particularly vibrant sound that manages to connect us instantly to our most spiritual part. Listening to this music, we can feel a multitude of emotions, ranging from euphoria to sadness to nostalgia. Moreover, music has a real action on our body and our brain. It is able to regulate our heart rate and breathing, which helps to reduce our stress and tension levels. It also acts on our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for our emotional intelligence, which allows us to better manage our emotions. Finally, music has a recognized therapeutic effect in the treatment of certain disorders, such as insomnia, anxiety and depression. In short, music is an inexhaustible source of well-being, which can help us relax, refocus on ourselves and reconnect with our soul. It is up to us to let ourselves be carried away by its magic and to take advantage of its benefits on our body and our mind.
The benefits of trance through rhythmic dance therapy. In his latest book, I give us a reflection on the benefits of trance through the practice of dance. Indeed, this ancestral therapy allows the individual to find his body freedom while calming his soul. The author recalls the etymology of the word enthusiasm, which means to have God within. This notion reveals the importance of the spiritual presence in the practice of dance, and the search for harmony between body and spirit. Practiced since the beginning of time, dance is a means of liberation for the body. When the rhythm of the music takes hold of our being, we are transported into a state of trance that allows us to free ourselves from our physical and mental tensions. Dance is not only a physical activity, it is also a meditative space where we can reconnect with ourselves. The fluid and harmonious movements help us to release our emotions and let our body express itself freely. In short, rhythmic dance therapy is a holistic practice that allows the individual to regain inner balance and live fully in the present moment. It is beneficial for physical and mental health as well as for spiritual well-being.
The benefits of unconditional love on our mind. When we strive to love more and more, it has a positive impact on our mind. By cultivating this unconditional love, we develop qualities such as caring, generosity and compassion for others. When our love for others becomes stronger, we feel an urge to give sweetness, to share our warmth and happiness. This urge to give and share creates a positive energy around us, which is contagious. Loving unconditionally helps us to get out of ourselves and our selfish concerns. This openness can lead to more sincere and deeper relationships with others. Finally, unconditional love can help us to be happier because it allows us to see the world differently, to approach it with more optimism and confidence. Indeed, by loving others, we can also learn to love ourselves. In short, unconditional love can have a very positive impact on our spirit, helping us to cultivate qualities that allow us to be more altruistic, more generous and happier.
The body language of emotions. I explore the relationship between emotions and the body parts that express them. The mind-body sciences have established that emotions are not exclusively mental, but that they also have a physical dimension that can be visualized in our posture, movements and reactions. By becoming aware of the sensations and movements associated with each emotion, we can put them back into motion, express them fully and release their hold on us. For example, sadness can be felt as an unpleasant sensation in the chest, anger can be felt as tension in the muscles of the jaw and neck. By exploring these physical sensations, we can play with their color, rhythm and warmth to help release the emotion into the heart. This practice can also help us better understand and manage our own emotions, as well as those of others.
The call for unconditional love from our colleague François Breton. François Breton, our colleague, challenges us on the importance of unconditional love. According to him, we should not try to understand, explain, or analyze this feeling, but rather accept and embrace it as it is. He encourages us to leave aside the questions of why, how, and where and simply live and feel it. For François Breton, love is the very reason for our existence. He reminds us that we are born to love and be loved, that it is a force that animates us since our birth. He highlights the benefits of love for personal development and mental health. His message is clear: don't wait to love, but instead, act now. He urges us to become aware of our capacity to love and to make love our life force. In short, François Breton invites us to connect to our essence through unconditional love, without asking questions, just by living it and giving it. The challenge of confessing feelings in the 1980s. In the 1980s, the I love you was a real challenge. If that sweet word was uttered, it invited a reciprocal response preferably. Feelings were at the center of all discussions, but confessing one's emotions was not always obvious even when they were eloquent. Many young people were faced with this dilemma. Should they declare their feelings and risk rejection or remain silent to avoid the pain of humiliation? Uncertainty and apprehension mixed with passion and love, creating an atmosphere of tension and excitement. The songs, movies, and television shows of the time reflected this mood. The heroes of the romantic movies of the 1980s often sought attention and affection through romantic gestures rather than by admitting their feelings. Song lyrics also reflected this shyness and fear of commitment. In this period of trying to express one's feelings without exposing oneself too much, the I love you took on a very important meaning. Young people in search of affection needed this declaration to know if they could move forward or if they had to back away. Finally, declaring one's feelings was not easy in the 80s. It was a time when emotions were rampant, but at the same time people were very careful about expressing their feelings. Relationships were often marked by this uncertainty, this worry, but also by a great hope. The 80s will remain for many a period where love rhymed with challenges and where the I love you was a symbol.
The clarity needed to make good decisions. I emphasize the importance of clarity in making good decisions. Making a decision in a state of confusion can only lead to a confused decision itself. To avoid this, it is necessary to ensure clarity. The author then refers to Tibet as a place of high spirituality, suggesting that the spiritual quest can be a means to achieve this desired clarity. He also speaks of love as a refusal of separation, which can be understood as the idea that the search for clarity and understanding requires overcoming the artificial barriers we create for ourselves. The author also emphasizes the power of creation from the heart, mentioning prayer and the importance of this notion in the different religions. Finally, the author concludes by saying that dreams are present in the background of our daily lives, suggesting that we can find answers and clarity in moments of contemplation or daydreaming. In sum, this text invites us to seek clarity in order to make quality decisions, a quest that may involve spirituality, refusing barriers and creating from the heart.
The complexities of relationships. This text discusses the complexities of romantic relationships and how they are often misunderstood. The author points out that it is easy to confuse love struggles with hatred, when in fact they are often a reflection of great passion. Children are often seen as the source of truth because they are not afraid to speak their minds, even if it can be brutal at times. The analogy of the sun not being able to see its shadow reminds us that true love is blind to the other person's flaws. This does not mean that lovers never argue or experience anger. On the contrary, the author suggests that by refusing to express these emotions, one fails to love oneself and to allow the other person the opportunity to shine fully. Ultimately, the text highlights how complicated relationships can be and how important it is to fully understand them.
The complexity of emotions and feelings. In this text, we discover that emotions are composed of thousands of different feelings. Indeed, a feeling is a mixture of several emotions. It is therefore often difficult to understand a particular emotion, such as jealousy. To understand jealousy, I invite us to ask ourselves several questions. What surprised us? Why are we sad? Why are we disgusted? What are we afraid of? These different emotions mixed together create the feeling of jealousy. This shows us that emotions are complex and that we often have to go beyond the first impression to understand them. This understanding can help us to better manage our emotions and, therefore, to better communicate when we try to share our feelings with others.
The complexity of human desire. Desire is a complex concept that can be difficult to understand. Many people believe that their motivation is clear and obvious, but in reality, this is often not the case. The deeper we dive into the underlying motivations of desire, the more we realize that things are not always what they seem. I discuss the concept of desire and point out that desire can be motivated by hidden, underlying forces. Sometimes the motivation behind desire is not what we think it is. Understanding these motivations can be difficult and require some thought. As a result, it is important to take the time to understand our desires and motivations so that we can better understand our own choices and the reasons behind them. When we take the time to reflect on these hidden motivations, we can better decide if our desire is really what we want, or if it is simply a superficial reaction to something in our environment. In conclusion, I highlight the complexity of human desire, and encourage readers to think carefully about their own motivations and desires, in order to make more informed and conscious decisions.
The complexity of love and human diversity. This text deals in a subtle way with the complexity of love and human diversity by referring to different aspects related to our way of loving, such as our sensitivity to beauty and our moral code regarding morals. It also underlines that these aspects can vary according to the society, the time, and the culture in which we evolve. It is necessary to recognize and accept this diversity in order to better understand the other. This would allow for a better understanding of their values, beliefs, and needs, which would promote empathy and better communication between individuals from different cultures.
The complexity of love and thought. In this text, the author asks himself questions about his feelings towards his partner and realizes that the answer can only be found in silence. He compares emotion to blood chemistry and thought as being primarily electrical in the brain. However, the author emphasizes that the role of the mind is crucial in maintaining the emotional connection. This connection helps to keep focus and strengthen feelings, which can enrich relationships. This text shows the complexity of emotions and thought, and how the two work in tandem to create a strong bond between individuals. Love and thought are key elements of our lives, which cannot be ignored or minimized.
The complexity of love and wisdom. Love is a complex human emotion that can lead to madness. When we fall in love, we feel like we are losing our mind, no longer in control of our actions and thoughts. This feeling of madness can lead us to make impulsive decisions and behave irrationally. Yet wisdom is often associated with reason and self-control. How can these two concepts coexist? Some people think that wisdom is staying away from passions and emotions, including love. They believe that a detached and rational perspective is the best way to make informed decisions. Other people, however, believe that love can be a path to wisdom. According to them, love can help us transcend our ego and connect to something bigger than ourselves. When we love deeply, we accept the other person as they are and are willing to make sacrifices for them. This attitude of openness and generosity can lead us to a greater understanding of ourselves and the other. It is true that love can lead to irrational and dangerous behavior, but it is also capable of transforming us in a positive way. If we love the other for the other and not just for ourselves, we can learn to step outside of our own ego and open ourselves to new and enriching experiences. Wisdom is not just about rational and detached behavior, it also involves an openness of heart and a genuine love for the other.
The complexity of mature love. Love is a complex concept that evolves with time, experience, and introspection. Sometimes we come face to face with our true desires, which can lead to a certain nostalgia or melancholy at the thought of what we could have experienced if we had followed our instincts earlier. But emotional maturity pushes us to express our integrity and our feelings, while respecting the other person. It is essential not to keep negative or problematic aspects quiet, as this can prevent love from fully blossoming. Passion in love is like a subtle alchemy. It needs time to transform, evolve, and adapt to changes in our lives and personalities. Mature love involves a deep understanding of oneself and the other person, and a sincere desire to pursue a relationship in which each person feels respected, supported, and loved.
The complexity of self-expression. I discuss the difficulty of expressing one's thoughts and feelings fully and authentically due to many factors, such as the need to maintain harmonious relationships and the complexity of the human mind. He also points out that understanding the subconscious mind can help in understanding some unexplainable feelings. The author observes that for many people it is easier to communicate with God than with their loved ones, perhaps because of the sacred aspect of the relationship with the deity. I highlight the complexity of self-expression and the need to know oneself in order to better express emotions and feelings.
The complicity, a pillar of the authentic and trusting relationship. The quality of complicity is a crucial factor in any healthy and fulfilling relationship. It is the result of a daily sharing of small gestures, which reinforce the security and trust between people. Indeed, when two people are complicit, they feel confident to indulge in moments of novelty, exploring new grounds in their secret garden of the relationship. This complicity is a clear sign of authenticity, because it allows us to show ourselves as we are, without artifice or pretense. It pushes us to be ourselves and to express what we feel, without fear of being misunderstood or judged. This freedom of speech and action is essential to nourish a deep and intimate relationship. Finally, complicity is a pillar of trust, because it reinforces the certainty that we can count on the other person. It ensures that our feelings and thoughts will be met with kindness and empathy. This gives us the strength to overcome difficulties, to better understand each other's needs, and to build a strong and lasting relationship. In short, complicity is a true alchemy between two beings who choose to grow together in love, respect, and loyalty. It is the sign of an authentic and trusting relationship, which is nourished every day by small gestures of attention and tenderness. The concept of the Cristic, a pure and luminous state of being. This text discusses the concept of Cristic, which is a pure and luminous state of being, like a crystal that lets light pass through. The crystal is often used to symbolize purity and transparency, and it is therefore quite natural that this notion is associated with the concept of Cristic. The text also refers to Aladdin, the king of thieves, who must have a pure heart to enter the cave of wonders. This reference emphasizes the importance of purity of spirit to access higher states of consciousness. In sum, the Cristic represents a high and pure state of being, which can be achieved by working on ourselves and seeking to develop our inner light.
The confusion between feminine and masculine energy in the traditions. In many traditions around the world, the earth is seen as a feminine entity, called Pachamama in Andean culture. Similarly, the creator of the universe is often seen as a male being. However, over time, humans have created confusion about what is really feminine and masculine energy. Feminine energy is often associated with creativity, intuition, emotion, listening, and empathy. It is linked to the cycle of life, birth and death, as well as to the connection with the earth and living beings. It is often represented by symbols such as the moon, water, and curved shapes. In contrast, masculine energy is associated with action, rationality, logic, competition, and dominance. It is often linked to strength, efficiency, and performance, as well as to the connection with the sky and the cosmos. It is often represented by symbols such as the sun, fire, and straight shapes. However, it is important to understand that these energies are not exclusively gender-specific. Women can have masculine energy and men can have feminine energy within them. The imbalance or suppression of either of these energies can cause discomfort or a lack of understanding of self and others. It is possible that the confusion between the feminine and masculine energies is a result of the patriarchal society that has dominated for thousands of years. This male dominance led to the suppression of the feminine energy and created an imbalance that affected the individual as well as the planet. By reconnecting with the feminine energy, it is possible to regain a sense of oneness with the environment and develop empathy and understanding for other living beings. By rediscovering the healthy and balanced masculine energy, it is possible to use action in a conscious way and avoid being dominated by competition and domination. In sum, it is important to recognize and understand the differences between feminine and masculine energy, while remembering that both are necessary to achieve balance and harmony in our lives and in the world around us.
The consequences of a lack of communication. There is nothing more frustrating than facing a ghost in French. When communication is lacking, misunderstanding sets in and can become the source of many problems. This can lead to many negative consequences, such as reinforcing the misunderstanding, which then becomes deeper and more complex. The lack of communication can be due to several factors, such as language barriers, lack of time, poor verbal or non-verbal communication, etc. Whatever the cause, it can be very destabilizing and disturbing, as it is difficult to deal with something that you do not understand the nature or origin. The consequences can be pernicious, especially in terms of social and professional relationships. Often, misunderstandings can lead to conflict, which affects relationships between people and their ability to work together effectively. It can also impact the company's bottom line, which can be affected by miscommunication. In a culturally diverse environment, it is even more imperative to focus on communication to avoid misunderstandings. Communication must be clear, precise, and participants must be open and attentive to each other's needs and expectations. Companies that fail in their communication can face significant costs, both in terms of productivity and in terms of impact on their brand image. In short, lack of communication is a serious problem that needs to be addressed quickly. It is important to ensure quality communication to ensure better understanding between individuals and avoid potential conflict. By communicating effectively, we can improve our ability to build strong relationships and achieve common goals.
The consequences of lack of love on the ego. The lack of love can have disastrous consequences on our ego. Indeed, the lack of affection can generate a multitude of contradictory feelings, such as loneliness, sadness, anxiety, or frustration. These feelings reinforce the process of obsession and the ego's need for recognition. The emotional system is regulated by the intelligence of the heart, which means that it can feed on positive as well as negative emotions, as long as it stimulates our feeling of existence. In the case of a lack of love, our ego can seek to fill this emotional void in different ways, for example by seeking the attention of others or by engaging in toxic relationships. However, the lack of love can also help us to catalyze and challenge ourselves. By identifying the causes of our unhappiness, we can work on ourselves and learn to love ourselves before seeking the love of others. It is important to remember that self-love is the key to a fulfilling life and a healthy relationship with others.
The consequences of love. Love is often considered one of the most intense aspects of life. However, it is important to understand that this strong emotion can have unexpected consequences on your life. In this article, we will look at the consequences of love and how it can affect your clarity and relationships with friends. The first thing that love can cause us to lose is our lucidity. When we fall in love, our brains are overwhelmed with intense emotions, which can impair our judgment and decision-making. We may be more likely to take risks or ignore obvious signs of problems in the relationship because of the intensity of our feelings. In addition, love can also affect our relationships with friends. When we are in love, we often tend to spend more time with our partner and neglect our social life. Friends can feel left out or left behind, which can affect the dynamics of the friendship. However, it is important to note that this can vary depending on the person and the relationship. It is also important to understand that each love is unique and can have different implications on our lives. We can discover a multitude of new experiences hidden through love relationships that we would not have otherwise experienced. This can include new emotions, new activities, and new relationships. In conclusion, love can be a powerful and intense force that can impact our lives. It is important to consider the potential effects of love on our clarity and relationships with friends. However, each love experience is unique and can enrich our lives in a multitude of hidden ways.
The correlations of love in life according to Gary Renard. Gary Renard is an author specializing in the Course in Miracles who offers us, through his book, a new look at the correlations and synchronicities of love in our lives. According to him, all the events of our life are interconnected thanks to love, and we can learn to interpret them to better guide our path. Indeed, Renard invites us to see life as a puzzle, where each piece is a synchronicity, a coincidence or an encounter that materializes the love of our universe. These correlations are often signs that indicate to us which directions we should turn to in order to fulfill our destiny. Thus, He proposes a method of deciphering which consists in connecting the events of our life between them to draw lessons from them. It is by connecting these points that we can then understand the messages that the universe sends us, listen to our intuition and let ourselves be guided by love. In this book, Renard shows us how even the most difficult and painful events can be seen as signs of love that allow us to grow spiritually. He invites us to take a fresh look at our lives to extract the wisdom necessary for our own growth. In the end, this book is a true invitation to love and wisdom, to awaken our consciousness and to understand that everything in our lives is connected.
The crucial consent to true love. I discuss the theme of consent in the context of romantic relationships. The author describes two types of love: first love, which can be chosen or learned, and true love, which is intense and passionate. The author states that consenting to first love is easy because it occurs in a normal and ordinary way. However, consenting to great love is more difficult because it is extreme and can be frightening. The author emphasizes the importance of consent for true love. It does not happen by chance, but rather after conscious decision-making. True love can sometimes seem unpredictable or uncontrollable, but the author suggests that consent is in fact an essential condition for a healthy and satisfying experience. In summary, I invite readers to consider the importance of consent in romantic relationships, especially in the case of true love, which is often considered a romantic dream. The key message is that consent is a crucial decision for fully experiencing love, no matter its shape or size.
The dangers and benefits of a break in a couple. The break, or pause in a love relationship, is often considered an option for couples who have difficulties in their relationship. But is this break really beneficial for the couple, or can it cause more problems than it solves? On the one hand, the break can offer both partners time to reflect and step back. It can allow them to step back and reflect on what they want for their relationship. They can assess their situation, their expectations and their needs. However, on the other hand, the temporary breakup can also be detrimental to the relationship. If a couple breaks up and one partner meets someone else, it can cause jealousy and sadness. In addition, the break can also cause both partners to feel more distant and lose their emotional connection. Therefore, it is essential that both people are clear on why they want to take a break before implementing it. If both partners want to work on their relationship and have a clear plan to do so, the break can be beneficial. But if one partner wants to take a break to be free to meet other people or to avoid a difficult confrontation, it can lead to a permanent breakup. Finally, it is important to know that a break is not enough to solve the problems in a relationship. Both partners must be willing to communicate and work together to build a healthier, stronger relationship once the break is over. In short, a break in a relationship can be beneficial if both partners are willing to work together to improve the relationship. But if the break is used as a way to avoid problems or if one partner intends to meet other people, it can damage the relationship and lead to a permanent breakup.
The dark side of love between greed and possession. The word Cupid has an interesting etymological root, greed, which implies the unbridled desire to possess something or someone. Love itself is a raw animal and natural emotion, which can lead to possession and jealousy. However, this passion can also lead to insanity if the desire is repressed. The possession of the other is a frequent theme in literature and love films. Couples in love are often shown as owners of each other, with a sick jealousy that can turn into violence. This view of love is often influenced by cultural conceptions that consider jealousy and possession to be signs of genuine love. However, this possessive love is not a healthy manifestation of passionate love. Jealousy is often the result of a lack of trust in oneself and in the relationship, and can lead to abusive and destructive behavior. The marital duty of married life can also cause tension in the relationship, making it difficult to maintain a lasting passion. It is therefore necessary to understand that love should not be limited to the possession of the other, but should be based on mutual trust, respect, and empathy. Passion in love must be cultivated and maintained, without ever sinking into greed or possession, which can lead to the destruction of the relationship. The darkness of love and violence. This script addresses the idea that love can sometimes be dark and hidden, and that it can lead to the use of violence to prove our commitment. This perception of ideal love that we have can lead to guilt when circumstances no longer allow us to maintain this vision. The use of the word occult in the first sentence suggests that love can be hidden, unknown, even mysterious. Then, the quote "the heart has its reasons that reason ignores" underlines the complexity of the feeling of love, and suggests that logic and rationality are not enough to understand it. The text then puts forward the idea according to which love is a pure prayer, i.e. a sincere prayer, thus evoking its sacred character. However, this conception seems contradictory with the use of violence to prove this love, which is then imposed on others as a norm. I finally point out that this vision of ideal love can lead to guilt when reality no longer corresponds to this norm. Thus, it offers a reflection on violence in love relationships and the importance of considering the complexity and nuances of love.
The definition of true love. The above text describes true love as more than just an emotion. It is a subtle blend of peace and joy, bringing a strong sense of existence in a space larger than ourselves, and constantly manifesting in an expansion of elation. Recognizing this true love in all its forms allows us to realize that it is present all around us, and that it goes far beyond traditional love relationships. It can be the love of a parent for a child, the love between friends, the love for a pet, and even the love for nature. In this way, I invite the reader to open their eyes to true love, which is much deeper and more fulfilling than simply feeling strong emotions in a love relationship. By recognizing love in its complexity, we realize that we are surrounded by unconditional love that can bring true inner peace and lasting joy.
The delicate balance between love and passion. I raise a question that has plagued mankind for centuries. Can love still be considered a safe value when passion takes over and consumes us from within? The frantic search for ephemeral pleasures and the fear of isolation can lead us to question the very nature of man. Is he fundamentally good or bad? These questions illustrate the fragile balance between the impulses of our feelings and the need to step back and reflect on our choices. Nevertheless, love is always present. It can manifest itself in many different and sometimes surprising ways, and it allows us to form bonds that can guide us to inner peace and happiness. The key may lie in being measured and wise, in finding the right balance between passion and reason, to build a lasting and fulfilling relationship.
The details that make us unique. We all have small everyday actions that define who we are. From the way we smile, to the way we hug and love others, these details say a lot about us and how we see the world. In this romantic short film, we explore what brings us together as human beings. We see how a simple caress or a small smile can evoke deep feelings between two people. It reminds us that all the details count, even the smallest ones, and that we are all unique through our daily gestures and actions. So let's take the time to celebrate what makes us different and love each other for those details that make us unique.
The differences between love at first sight and lasting love. Love at first sight is an intense and sudden experience, which can sometimes be confusing. As its name suggests, it can be compared to a lightning bolt that shines intensely before disappearing as quickly as it appeared. It is a passionate attraction that can occur when you meet someone for the first time. However, this does not guarantee that it will last or lead to a lasting relationship. In fact, if you want to build a healthy and lasting relationship, it takes more time, effort, and sacrifice. You have to get to know the other person, build a relationship based on mutual respect, communication, and trust. Love requires patience, dedication, and commitment. Love at first sight can be emotionally intense and enjoyable, but it can also be superficial. It can be based on physical appearance, common interests, or immediate chemistry. It is often a selfish feeling that focuses on how we feel and our own needs rather than the other person's. In contrast, lasting love is deeper, more solid. It is a true commitment to the other person, with a willingness to overcome challenges together. It is also a sense of meeting each other's needs, of caring and being there in difficult times. It is important to understand the difference between love at first sight
and lasting love so as not to be deceived by the ephemeral illusion of love at first sight or to get caught in a relationship that lacks substance. True love is a process that takes time but is worth it.
The differences between women and men in the love relationship. In a romantic relationship, it is important to understand and respect the differences between men and women. Indeed, the desires and needs of each gender may be different. In this text, it is clear that the sexual needs of men and women may differ. Women often need to feel loved in order to have sex, while men need to have sex to feel loved. This does not mean that one gender is more desirous than the other, but rather that each gender's emotional and physical connection is emphasized in different ways. Understanding and accepting these differences is important for a fulfilling love relationship. A good rapport between the two partners is necessary to be able to experience the relationship in a way that is fluid and satisfying for both parties. It is also important to note that these differences are not absolute and that each individual has their own needs and desires, regardless of gender. However, by recognizing and respecting each other's differences, it is possible to create a happier and healthier love relationship.
The different facets of spiritual relationships. Spiritual relationships are ubiquitous and can take many forms. Among these forms are detoxification and companionship soulmates. Detoxification soulmates are people who are going through a difficult time and need help to overcome an addiction or dependency. Companion sisters, on the other hand, are people who are there to support and encourage other individuals on their spiritual journey. Another form of spiritual relationship is that of twin flames. Twin flames are seen as a magnifying mirror, reflecting all that is still unresolved in their lives. This relationship is often intense and tumultuous, as it allows each individual to explore their dark areas and work on their healing. Finally, there are twin souls who are souls that we have known for a very long time. They are beings with whom one has shared several past lives and with whom one has promised to help each other in this life. This relationship is often very deep and allows each individual to feel understood and loved unconditionally. In conclusion, spiritual relationships come in many forms and can offer great help and support in our lives. Whether it is with soul mates, twin flames or twin souls, these relationships allow each individual to grow and flourish on a spiritual level.
The different forms of love and their implication in our life. Love is a concept that encompasses many nuances and can be experienced in many ways. Indeed, we can distinguish 4 forms of love: animal love, emotional love, rational love, and spiritual love. Animal love is instinctive and instinctual. It is based on physical and sexual need. It is physical love. It can be very intense, but it is often ephemeral and dissipates easily. Emotional love, on the other hand, is based on feelings. It is more complex and involves a deep emotional connection between two people. It is the love of feeling and sharing, but it can also be a source of pain if the relationship does not work. Rational love is more thoughtful, more reasoned. It can be seen as the love of reason and compatibility. This type of love is the result of a conscious and reasoned decision, often based on clearly defined criteria of choice. Finally, spiritual love is the love of transcendence and universality. It is a deeper and more subtle love, which is often associated with the search for truth and wisdom. It is the love that seeks to connect human beings in a pure and selfless relationship. It is important to understand that these different forms of love are not mutually exclusive, but rather can complement each other. Animal love can turn into emotional love, and emotional love can lead to rational or spiritual love. In the end, whatever form of love we experience, it always involves some responsibility. Loving means giving yourself to the other person and caring for them, even in difficult times. It often involves making compromises, being patient, and working on oneself to be a better person. In conclusion, love is a rich and complex concept, which can bring us much happiness but also pain. By understanding the different forms of love and their implications, we can better understand our emotions and be more conscious of our decisions.
The different forms of love in the encounter. I address the theme of love in the encounter. He explains that there are two classic ways of living this experience, seeking to love or seeking to be loved. However, he mentions that there is a third option, which is to love to be. Love that consists of loving to be is a form of love that does not create an attachment to our image. This love is free, without expectations or constraints. People who choose this option do not seek to satisfy their ego or validate their image. Instead, they are looking for an authentic relationship in which they can be themselves and enjoy the person they are with. I emphasize that this form of love is rare and very special. He even mentions some testimonies that report having seen it fly. Indeed, this form of love may seem mystical or reserved for a chosen few. Nevertheless, it is accessible to all those who are ready to let go of their expectations and accept the other as he or she is. In short, I invite us to reflect on the different forms of love we may encounter in our lives. It encourages us to choose a relationship that truly corresponds to us and to have the courage to love in a free and authentic way.
The different forms of love. Love is a complex emotion, and it can take different forms depending on the context and the relationship between people. In this text, we will explore three forms of love: emotional love, spiritual love, and astral love. Emotional love is the love that comes to us spontaneously when we are in the presence of our loved ones, our friends, or our partner. We can love these people unconditionally, but this love can also be subject to mood swings when our relationships are tumultuous or when we have unresolved conflicts. In addition, it is possible to love our loved ones without feeling love for ourselves, which can lead to self-destructive behaviors. Spiritual love, on the other hand, is deeper and encompasses all dimensions of our being. It is a love that frees us from our conditioning and allows us to live in peace with ourselves and with others. Spiritual love does not focus on the external manifestations of love, but rather on its quintessence, which is unconditional love. Finally, astral love is a love that is often attached to our bodily desires. It can be a physical attachment to a person, or a desire to possess something. Astral love can be passionate and intense, but it is often ephemeral and can lead to suffering if we are not aware of our deeper motives. In short, love can take many forms, and we need to be aware of the nature of our love to avoid hurting ourselves or others. Learning to cultivate spiritual and unconditional love can help us achieve a state of inner peace and harmonious relationships with others.
The different perceptions of love according to the philosophers. According to the Maya concept, everything that exists is illusory, including love. This view is shared by the sage Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, for whom love is not real. For others still, everything is illusion except love. However, for the philosopher Schopenhauer, love and emotions are real, but considered as forces of nature. According to him, love is a force that drives individuals to reproduce in order to perpetuate the family. These different perceptions of love highlight the complexity of this universal feeling that can be seen from many angles, depending on the beliefs and experiences of each individual.
The different types of couples. In this text, we discuss the different types of couples that exist. First, there are karmic couples who experience suffering in order to rebalance their harmony. These couples may have gone through past lives together and have karmic debts to pay. Often they must learn to forgive and release suffering in order to move forward. There are also egotic couples, who are based on personal profit and advantage. They experience the disappointment of desire and the gap between hope and reality. Their relationship can be very unstable because they only think of their own interests. Finally, there are the divine couples, where love is shared in a way that communicates together. They are able to understand each other without even speaking, merge their energies and are in total harmony. These couples are rare, but they can be lasting and fulfilling. In summary, there are different couples, each with their own way of living their relationship. Karmic couples have to deal with issues from the past, while egotic couples live a self-centered love. Divine couples, on the other hand, are able to share their love in a way that communicates with each other and are in harmony.
The difficulty of building a stable relationship in the current context of dating on social networks. With the rise of social networks and dating apps, the way we interact with others has changed dramatically. Today, It has become commonplace to meet new people online, chat with them, and potentially form romantic relationships. However, this way of meeting people raises new questions about the reliability and stability of these relationships. Indeed, the improvisation around dating on social networks can create a dissociation between the real and virtual world. Moreover, long-distance dating can distort the perception that we have of our interlocutor. This fantasy projection can lead to a significant gap with reality, and lead to disillusionment when the relationship is tested in the real world. Relationships built on these platforms are often based on seduction and physical attraction, but do not take into account the fundamental values and character traits that are essential in a stable relationship. Building a healthy and stable relationship takes time and mutual investment. Therefore, it is important to remain cautious and be aware of the limitations and risks of this way of meeting people. In sum, if social networks and applications can facilitate the search for love, it is important to keep in mind that building a stable relationship does not happen overnight.
The difficulty of loving oneself. Being loved is one of the most universal aspirations. We tell ourselves that if we are loved, our self-esteem will be enhanced and we will be happier. However, we often fall into the trap of acting to please others, which alters our perception of our own personality. We then lose ourselves in a role-playing game where our true self is camouflaged. Loving ourselves is a difficult task that requires time and perseverance. It is a daily work that must be undertaken to evolve and shine, because to start loving oneself is to get up on the right foot. It is necessary to grant a value and an importance by respecting its weaknesses while appreciating its qualities, because one does not go without the other. Furthermore, it is essential to support yourself, to give yourself value in order to move forward. This is not a matter of egocentricity, but rather a way to connect with one's true self and realize one's potential. This involves empathy and understanding, as we are often our own worst enemy. In short, loving yourself is an essential life choice that can have positive consequences on all aspects of your life. It is a process that requires patience, but with time, can allow us to better accept, appreciate and love ourselves unconditionally to be truly happy.